He's getting older.
Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, hit the follow button.
But not wiser.
Pour some sugar on me.
This is The Lefty Show.
Welcome, one and all, to The Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here with you all today. Hope to put on a great show for you today. Thursday, the 7th of August, in the year of our Spaghetti Monster 2014. Welcome one, welcome all to The Lefty Show, episode number 71. Soldiering on with The Lefty Show. We continue forward. Ever forward we go. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can find the show in its YouTube formation. Thank you to everybody for following on Twitter. @Lefty643 is where you can do that. And thank you. We survive via the show growing, and I thank all of you for helping the show grow, sharing it with friends, family, and coworkers. Easier to do now with the RSS feed. Head on over to leftyshow.podbean.com or go to your favorite Android podcasting app of choice. Search The Lefty Show. You'll find us there. Or go to the iTunes store. iTunes, baby. Go to the iTunes store. Search The Lefty Show. Search The Lefty Show. Find us, subscribe, leave a rating on the feed if you please. Thank you to everybody that's been donating. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions is where you can go to do that. If you please, had some donations roll in the last couple of days, and I thank you all for that. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions. Now, yesterday, I stepped away from the game for a minute. I was on my computer, on Twitter, cruising around. You know, as I do sometimes, cruising around different corners of the internet, Reddit, Deadspin, looking at sports stuff, and you know, the Bears. There's a Bears game going on tomorrow night. Looking to see who's won. Martellus Bennett, dumbass, got himself suspended. Just idiot. Not really a big deal. Just threw a guy into the ground, and it's weird because, you know, NFL players being suspended for being violent is probably the silliest thing that I've ever encountered. It's and just in general, the idea of you're taking a player, you're taking a person, and you are making it their job to be athletic. Not only are you making it their job to be athletic, you're making it their job for which they are compensated millions of dollars, with millions of dollars and endorsement deals and prestige and celebrity and all these things. You're not only telling them to be athletic, you're telling them to be powerful. We want you to be athletic, and we want you to be powerful because NFL football is a violent brand of football. And we want you to be big, fast, powerful, and violent. And here's millions of dollars to do it. But only between the whistles. Only between the whistles are you allowed. Are you supposed to be violent? So here's the millions of dollars. Here are all the things that go into making you the biggest, fastest, strongest, most powerful specimen of humanity we can make you. Steroids. Here's all the things that go into that. Here they all. You want to spend 3 hours a day in the gym in the offseason. You are going to be a specimen of human athleticism and power. That is your job. And here's millions of dollars to do it. And here's celebrity. And here is one day. You only work 1 day a week in the fall and winter. And your job is to go hard 100% all the time, firing on all cylinders. No such thing as an off day. You are supposed to be the biggest, baddest, meanest, angriest, powerful gladiator you can possibly be on a world stage 1 day a week in the fall. That's your job. Here's millions of dollars. But when the whistle blows, you better stop being violent. When you leave the team facilities, you better stop being violent. We will reward you for being violent. We will make you violent. That's what we're going to teach you to hit hard, and we're going to motivate you and scream at you and curse at you and then build you up and break you down and send you to the locker room and send you to the ice baths and all the things. But you better know when to turn it off and to turn it on. We are giving you all of that. And we expect you to know when to do it. When the whistle blows, you better cease immediately being violent. Don't turn around and kind of throw somebody into the ground. Otherwise, we're going to suspend you indefinitely. Or If you go out with your friends, all your similarly knuckleheaded friends, and you get drunk, and we're going to ply you with painkillers and booze after games so you don't feel pain anymore because we know you're destroying your body for us. We're going to ply you with barbiturates and booze, beer, liquor, and then give you millions of dollars and send you out to the club and say, go enjoy yourself with all your similarly knuckleheaded friends. And for your entire life, we have incentivized this game over education and all the things that go with that. Education and just being an upstanding member of society. Fuck all that when you were growing up. Fuck all that when you were in high school, college, when you were a high school prospect, a college prospect, and an NFL prospect. Screw all that. You were told, be violent. Be in the gym, be violent, be strong. This is your future. This is your job. Now go out with your knuckleheaded friends with your lack of social adaptation and education and start drinking liquor, but don't fuck anybody up. Yeah, your job is to be violent. Yeah, your job is to be mean and angry and hurt people, but it only should occur between the whistles. Now, here's millions of dollars in celebrity. Go out to a club, be an idiot, get drunk, but don't fight anybody. Don't do that. We're going to punish you severely for that if you do it. We are going to set you up to fail, and it's up to you to choose not to fail. Now, again, should humans be able to be like, hey, maybe I shouldn't knock this woman unconscious? Of course. Millions of dollars and a violent outlook and having violence reinforced in your life aside, or even assuming that, you should still know as a human being, maybe I shouldn't beat the shit out of this woman. Just call me crazy. I may be crazy, and I know you've been positively reinforcing my violence for years, but I don't think I should punch this person. I think that should be wrong. Now, and of course they should be held accountable for their actions. However, there is something to be said for, you tell these men, you turn them into modern day gladiators, right? They're not fighting in the Coliseum and they're not fighting lions, but you've turned them into gladiators as much as you can be in a blood sport in the modern day. And you give them millions of dollars in celebrity and barbiturates, and you make them violent humans, or at least you reinforce to a human of their violent nature, but then you turn around and say, don't be violent here, don't be violent there, don't do this, don't do that. And wait a minute, hold on a second. You're asking somebody who, more often than not, given a random sampling of NFL players, never prioritized education, never prioritized that. What they prioritized was football and athleticism. That's what they prioritized. That's why they're in the NFL. You have to be a little bit psychotic you have to have a psychotic dedication to be a professional athlete. And that doesn't come necessarily, of course it can be done, but that doesn't come from cracking the books first and hitting the gym later. That's not what happens. You're in the gym, and then you find somebody else to write your essays, take the tests, show up in class, take notes, whatever. If you even go to class, if you even take the test, if you go to a prestigious enough football university, you're not doing anything but being in the gym and studying game film and going over game planning and all that stuff. You're not going to class. You're not doing any of that. So you're saying to somebody, you're taking somebody that's never prioritized education and asking them to make an educated decision and say, you should have the prowess. You should have the forethought to say, wait a minute, I should not. The reinforcement of my violent nature is purely contextual. They are not reinforcing my violent nature as if to say the more violent you are all the time, the more you will get paid. The context of the reinforced violence and power and anger and meanness is all in the context of an NFL game or on the field. Off the field, there's no positive reinforcement and never has been positive reinforcement, for the most part, of my violent nature. You're asking them to make that distinction, and these people, again, more often than not, are probably not equipped to do it very well. And so they are going to, when the whistle blows, try to punch the... Why? Again, here's the perfect evidence. And you'll see an NFL season coming up soon. We're gonna suffer through 4 weeks of preseason for some reason. Just stop it. 1 or 2 weeks of preseason, maybe. And then just start the season. Not even extra games. I don't care about extra games. I don't care. No. I don't care, nor do I want extra games. I mean, I'd watch them because it's NFL football. But I don't need that. I don't want preseason because preseason, it's like a gigantic tease. You get all ready. Oh, man, there's Jay Cutler. Oh, there's Eli Manning, or there's Peyton Manning. Oh, they're lining up under center. All right. Oh, yeah, power eye or offset eye in the backfield. Oh, snap of the football. And then a couple commercial breaks later, you're like, wait, who's this guy on the field? What are you? You're not. No. You're not Peyton Manning. Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? No, where's football? Oh, then you slowly realize, wait a minute, they're not even caring about winning this game. Unless you're really involved in your team of choice, you go, oh, yeah, well. If you're really involved, you'll say, oh, well, there's the prospects. I get to see them. So we're going to suffer through a couple weeks of preseason football. And it's just, I don't know. It sucks because, again, you get all excited, then you realize, oh, none of this really means anything. Let's get to the games. Let's get to the actual games that actually mean something. And let's start, so that I can actually start betting. Do people bet preseason football? I mean, the NFL has its hooks in American society. The NFL can do no wrong. All the people here's the perfect example. Or here's the perfect you'll see it in the season. The perfect example of the stupidity or the supposed stupidity of NFL players is this. You'll see it again after the preseason, you'll see it during the season. There will be some tiff on the field. Something will happen. And somebody will be angry at somebody. Now, I've never played organized football. My dad never let me. He's like, you're going to blow out your knee, and you're a tall, left-handed kid. If there's anything you're going to do with athleticism, it's going to be baseball. And he never let me do it. But I would surmise that big, angry people trying to do big, angry things to you, you kind of get angry once in a while. You'll get angry at the guy who's trying to tackle you. Because he's not just trying to bring you down to the ground, he's trying to hit you very hard and bring you down to the ground. So somebody's going to be angry at somebody, or both people are going to be angry. And then there's going to be a guy who does something really, really stupid. And you'll see it. I've seen it every single season. Crap, you might be able to find it once a week. If you've got the NFL Sunday ticket package or just broadcast. There's enough NFL minutes broadcast on television that you'll probably see this. There will be somebody who tries to punch another guy wearing a full masked helmet. Somebody will get so angry about, of course, because, maybe grabbed his newts or something like that. Hey, man, you grabbed my newts. You grabbed my newts. And the response to that will be, not take off your helmet, or I'm going to wait until you take off your helmet to try to punch you in the head. I am going to try to punch your helmeted head. I'm going to punch your helmet. The very thing that I'm wearing, and I know it's designed to absorb massive concussive force so that my brain doesn't just ooze out of my skull, although it eventually will. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy notwithstanding. The very thing I'm wearing, and I know that somebody can hit me in the head and it's not going to hurt very much. I mean, I'll feel, shake out the cobwebs, Jay Cutler. Traumatic brain injury. The very thing I know that, but I'm going to, no. I'm going to be the one that breaks down the walls of this helmet. People hit me in the helmet all the time and the helmet doesn't break, but no. My fist and my anger are two forces enough to break this helmet. And some guy will try to punch another guy in a helmet. And you look at that and you say, you're a big angry idiot, aren't you? If you try to punch somebody, if you're an NFL player, you're on the field and you get so consumed by anger after the whistle that you try to punch a guy in his, is it Rydell still? Rydell, hi, Grease. If you try to punch a guy in his helmet, I'm going to call you, that's dumb. You don't know how to properly channel your violence and anger? You don't know, because your violent tendencies and your anger supersedes logic, because you're trying to punch a guy in the helmet. So you'll see it. And it's just, again, it's not that off the field that you could just throw your hands up and say, well, they're violent. Violent people will do violent things. No, you should off the field expect them to act like normal humans. However, there is something to be said for the notion of, you've had your violence reinforced in you your entire life, and you're probably not intelligent enough to understand that reinforcement was purely contextual, that they are reinforcing your violence on the field between the whistles, not just blithely reinforcing violence. And you don't understand that, and you go out in society, and your job is to answer problems with violence, pretty much. Unless you're a quarterback. Then I don't know how you arrive from quarterback to Ben Roethlisberger thinking it's okay to just start, girls that say no. No, Ben. No means no. It's happened twice now. You need to stop. You need to stop that. That's not good. It's not good. It's bad. But you don't understand that it's contextual, and you just think, oh, well, I mean, I answer in the workplace, quote, workplace, I answer my problems with violence and power. I have a problem here now at this club. This guy is saying something that I don't like. Well, let me turn over here and look back. In the workplace, it's acceptable and even reinforced to tackle this guy and pummel him as best I can. Now, here's this guy, again, presenting me with a problem. I wonder if it's acceptable to tackle and pummel him as best I can. Let's find out. There is something to be said. It's not an excuse, but do you get mad at a dog? Animals do what animals do. Dogs, do you really get mad at the dog who, you were upstairs churning one out and the dog had to go outside, but you didn't know and it peed on the carpet? Do you really get mad at the dog? I mean, yeah, it's a frustration. Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. But the dog doesn't know. The dog just like, hey, I can't open the door myself. What do you want from me? I got to pee over here. What is this? Oh, your dog is Italian. Oh, I got to go outside. What are you doing? I got to go do the thing. And you're up there doing whatever it is you humans do. I got a bladder full over here. And you're up there cranking one out. What is this shit? I'm going to pee on your carpet. Because that's what I do. You don't get mad. If you honestly get mad at the dog, like, Fido, you shouldn't have done that. He's like, wait, hold on a second. The animal just does what it knows. It knows it's got to pee. I mean, it obviously tried to go outside. It couldn't. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to do my business here. NFL players are humans. They are conscious most of the time. But unless you're Trent Green. If you're Trent Green, you're unconscious most of the time. I think he perpetually lives his life like he just walks around and just a concussion comes out of nowhere and he just falls down. He's walking down the street. Just boop. Now, they're not dogs, and the dog example is certainly extreme. They're not sentient human or NFL players are sentient. Dogs, I don't think that's the case. They're not really sure. I believe the mirror test is what they use. Now, NFL players are sentient, and they obviously have some independent thought, and they're like, oh, they can reason after a fashion and da-da-da-da-da. But still, you tell somebody something their entire life. Is it really that much of a stretch that they would have trouble turning it off? And I have to question people that just indiscriminately expect them to be able to turn it off. Unilaterally. That's it. You should turn it off. Wait a minute. Then maybe you should get better at explaining the context of your reinforcement of these violent tendencies. Doesn't excuse the very bad things, but you know, and that's the other thing, because it's hard to walk that line. It's hard to even raise the question in society today without looking as though, like, oh, you're excusing Ray Rice beating the shit out of his wife? No, of course not. That's wrong. And like I said, there is a point past which, you know, you should know being violent on an NFL field does not excuse stabbing some guy to death. Doesn't excuse it. You should know, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't be stabbing this guy to death. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. There's a disconnect when you try to use, well, violence is reinforced on the NFL field as an excuse for stabbing somebody to death, or Marvin Harrison shooting somebody. So to say that it's erroneous to say that, well, to even question, to say that indiscriminately punishing NFL players for being violent when their violence is reinforced and they're not smart enough to understand the context in which their violence is reinforced, well, that's excusing everything that they've done. No. However, when a guy like Martellus Bennett gets mad on the field and throws a guy down to the ground, or an NFL lineman, Albert Hainsworth, gets really pissed off and stomps on a guy, you're just a big idiot. You're a big violent idiot. And if it happens on an NFL field primarily, what are you going to do? To then in that context say, you should have turned it off, I think is suspect. Because you're all fine with the violence when the whistles are blown, in between whistles, quote. But in the other in between whistles, because is not between plays also between whistles? I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about it too much. But to then say, well, when you're on the field, though, and you're not involved in a play, you should stop being like, come on. All right, and in other news, this happened yesterday. This actually initially launched my my talk about NFL players and violence. I stepped away from the game for a minute, and I come back to Twitter, and everybody's mad at TwitchTV. Everybody's really pissed off. TwitchTV, internet startup, video game streaming service, one of the top 4 visited websites in the world in terms of total traffic. Of course, they have a boost because it's video gaming content and, you know, bitrate and stuff. But number 4 in the world. I come back and everybody's pissed. Everybody's like, oh, Twitch is done. Twitch is like YouTube now, and I'm going to Hitbox TV and all this crap, and I have no idea what happened. Like, it was a complete 180 turn. Twitch was the golden child. Everybody loved Twitch 24 hours ago. I come back to Twitter after doing some other things, and everybody's vilifying, demonizing. How dare they? Now, what happened was Twitch sent out an email to everybody with an account and detailing all these things, and there were press releases, and actually, I believe some people were actually clipped by it already. Twitch is starting to enforce DMCA copyright takedown notices. Now, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act allows or gives federal backing. The federal government backs private corporations going to other private corporations or private entities or even individuals and saying, take this down. We, Capitol Records, dictate that you, Joe Blow human, are in violation of our copyright, and under DMCA, we are ordering you to stop doing this, or we are ordering you to do this. And the DMCA says, yeah, we'll back you on that one. Now, Twitch has said that they are going to, on their VODs, now Twitch has two different video modes, let's say. There's the live stream, in which you are, well, streaming live video. Somebody is, the content you are watching on a live stream on Twitch was created a couple minutes ago. About 45 to a minute and a half. 45 seconds to a minute and a half ago. It's basically live content. Then, for the most part, those live productions are saved as videos on demand, or VODs. And Twitch has said, and the email was, we are going to start applying. We have partnered with this corporation or this service that will scrub through digitally will scrub through and scan your VOD content in search for any copyrighted material. And if it is found in that 30-minute block for 15 minutes each way, that will be muted. That section will be muted on your VOD. Now, this is Twitch, and some people are saying this is Twitch trying to cut the heart out of streamers, because a lot of streamers go to services like Pandora or Spotify and have copyrighted music playing in the background. It's just like a radio station without commercials. And they have it playing in the background to provide some ambiance, I suppose, to their stream. And a lot of people respond to it really well. And some people are saying, this is so bad. You're like YouTube now, because this is what YouTube does. And you're just going through and taking people's content down. And you're just cutting the heart out of streamers and VOD views, and this is awful, awful, awful. And while there are some weird things that happen that were part of the TwitchTV mandate, which was in-game sounds and music. In-game sounds and in-game music can also result in your VOD being muted, or a portion of your VOD being muted. Now, is this a step towards two questions? One, what is in-game music and sounds? Does that include native scores? Skyrim has a beautiful soundtrack created for Skyrim. Is that going to get you flagged? Do you have to turn off all music? What about in-game sounds? What does that mean? What the hell does in-game sounds mean? Like sound effects in-game? Ugh. All right. Now, Twitch, I'm sure will elaborate on that. But there's some real problematic questions there, potentially problematic. The other is this a stepping stone to all of a sudden now live content is up for grabs? Is there going to be a way, and I don't know if there is, but is there a way that, say, this service can start scrubbing through live content streamed through Twitch's servers? And if you are playing copyrighted material during your live stream, can your live stream live be shut down? Is this a stepping stone towards that? I don't know the practicality of that from a technical standpoint, but it would seem that, and here's why. First of all, not a lot of views are Twitch is not a place you go to watch videos on demand. They've tried it. They used to break up each individual game when you were browsing Twitch TV to find games. They used to break it down by live streamers and highlights, videos on demand. And not a lot of people watched them. There were some, but Twitch isn't really a place you go to watch videos on demand. That's YouTube. That's how I treat Twitch and YouTube. I live stream to Twitch, and then if I like what I create there, I chop it up, render it, and upload it to YouTube. A lot of my Twitch content becomes YouTube content, which is why I never played Spotify or anything like that, because I know YouTube is a real bastard about copywriting stuff. So this isn't really going to make or break me yet. Now, I say yet because even though Twitch VODs aren't really that's not a big market. Nobody's like, ooh, man, I can't wait for the latest Lyric VOD stream. They go to watch Lyric live. You go to Twitch to watch live content. You don't go to Twitch to watch VODs. And my worry is that Twitch knows that. My worry is, and I think everybody should be a little bit worried, because Twitch knows that too. Twitch isn't dumb. They didn't become the fourth largest trafficked site in the world by being idiots. They know that people come to watch VODs, and live streaming copyrighted material similarly violates the Digital Millennium Copyright Act and gives copyright holders, makes Twitch liable for action by copyright holders. Now, the reason I suspect Twitch has done all of this, the reason I suspect Twitch has come down and started this program is because they're trying to either gather more investors or sell themselves, get sold to some company. The Google thing hasn't come through yet. It hasn't been officially confirmed, which, again, this is complete talking out of my ass, but it seems logical. That would tell me that certainly overtures have been made from Google to Twitch or from Twitch to Google. And the timing of this implementation of a content ID-like system tells me that Twitch is readying itself to be sold, because if Google or some other company is going to buy Twitch TV, whatever the asking price is, hundreds of millions, $1 billion, whatever the going price is, that company that buys Twitch TV is not going to want to buy an asset that has a bunch of liabilities. And if Capitol Records, whatever else, big people in the music industry, if they are waiting in the wings to sue the shit out of Twitch or whoever owns Twitch, it would behoove Twitch to get rid of all those liabilities, to say, okay, here we go. We're going to bring ourselves in line with the DMCA, and here's how we're going to do it. Or at least we're going to make a reasonable attempt at bringing ourselves in line with the DMCA, and it's part of our terms of use that you shouldn't do this, and we make an honest effort to remove copyrighted material. And that could be a way to try to block anybody trying to sue Twitch. I'm not aware of anybody suing Twitch, but if Google buys Twitch, all of a sudden, Capitol Records might have something to say. Copyright holders of music, they might have something to say to Twitch or vicariously through Twitch to whomever buys it. They might say, ooh, you got a lot of our music on your website, don't you? Well, Google now, huh? Because Twitch, what does Twitch have in reserves, capital reserves? What do they have? What do they have in real assets, right? I mean, the selling price is a lot of people throwing around $1 billion, but is that $1 billion in hard assets? Does Twitch have holdings worth $1 billion? No. Twitch, the idea, Twitch, the brand, Twitch, the traffic, the ad revenue, even the potential ad revenue is all built up in the selling price of Twitch. Google, though, they got real assets. They got a lot of money. They're a publicly traded company. And so copyright holders could very well, or whoever might buy it, it would be a, quote, real company. Twitch is a real company, too. But they could look at that and say, ooh, you bought this, huh? It's yours now. Oh, well, we, being the copyright holders of rap music, rock, all these things, or techno, we're the right holders to all this music. We were just perusing your site, and the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Are you aware of it? Have you read that? Yeah. We noticed that there's a lot of our copyrighted music on your website, and to be perfectly honest, we haven't gotten anything. We haven't gotten word from anything or anybody asking us or paying licensing fees to use this. So we're going to have to go ahead and ask for $500 million, because that's what the music industry does. There was a TED Talk where I believe it was either the music industry or the film industry said that something like, if you tallied up all their lawsuits and all the losses that they were trying to recoup from people downloading and sharing their copyrighted material, whatever it was, music or movies, they tried to argue that like something like $900 billion or $900 trillion have been lost by pirating, by the collective pirating of everybody. And you look at that and you say, oh, so were it not for Napster, Kazaa, file sharing, Dropbox, Mega, you would be a $900 billion or a $900 trillion corporation, huh? Is that right? So your corporation would be worth more than the GDP of every country in the world combined. So the music industry or copyright holders are known for just being completely outrageous when it comes to, quote, copyright violations. And on copyright violations, I understand people, it's the law. DMCA is the law. Yeah, it's the law. Yeah, the law's bullshit, though. The law as applied is bullshit. Because here's how I approach copyright. Here's how I approach it. It may not be the correct way. It probably almost certainly is not. But here's how I approach it, and I approach it using my own special blend of reason. The idea of copyright and the idea of government-backed protection of copyright, or at least we will give you a vehicle, the courts, through which you can effectuate damages for your copyright or protect your copyright. And the name copyright. Copyright. You have the right to copy whatever it is you make. You have a right to this thing. It's yours. You can copy it and distribute it how you please. Furthermore, you have a right to profit from your invention or from your copyrighted material. And by the way, I saw this a few times. It's right as in R-I-G-H-T, as in, like, I have a right to this, not right as in I write it down on a piece of paper. So, I'm just weird about things like this. I'm not trying to be like, ha ha ha, suck on this one, people, I'm semanticizing. It's just, I'm just a weird dude, okay? And so when I see copywritten, as in, it was written down, no, it's right and it's copyrighted, as in they have the rights to it, not they have the, pen to paper kind of thing. That's all. Just, it's not even like, haha, you're dumb, I'm smart. It's just, I'm just weird about things like that. So anyway, the intent, as I understand it, of copyright protection, the entire practice is you worked hard, or the idea is at least, you worked hard or you did this and it is yours. And it is a good idea to protect the rights of people who create things for some amount of time. It shouldn't be forever, and I know Disney is trying to fight that because they're deathly afraid of Mickey Mouse being in the public domain. For a reasonable amount of time, you should be protected, and you should have your ability to profit off of your work, patent or otherwise, or trademark or whatever. That should be protected. You can copy, you can copy, distribute, and profit from your work, and that is at your sole discretion, and we will protect you from other people, or you can protect yourself via the courts and lawsuits from other people trying to infringe on that right. That's the general idea, as I understand it. But the core, the spirit, if not the letter of the law, certainly not the letter of the law, but to me, the spirit of the law is we are going to provide you a way, copyright holders, to protect yourself from people who are unfairly or providing another avenue through which people can get your content or your service or your product without paying you. Right? So Napster, Kazaa, Mega, very clearly, you can go there and download an Avenged Sevenfold album without paying Avenged Sevenfold or whoever owns the rights to Avenged Sevenfold. That is a violation of both the letter of copyright law and the spirit of copyright law. You are providing something to somebody who would otherwise have to go to this copyright holder to get the content or get the material. You're providing it and circumventing the actual right holder. That's the idea of the spirit of the law. Well, and I use this argument for both Twitch and music and YouTube and video games. People aren't going to Twitch channels to download and listen to the latest Eminem album or the latest, I don't know, who's big, Kesha album or KE$HA album. That's not where they go. Their purpose in populating Twitch and watching this streamer who happens to be playing that new album in the background, their purpose is to not surreptitiously record that audio stream and then they have a copy of the copyrighted work and have circumvented the actual copyright holder. That's not what happens, and that's not the intent. The intent is just there's the music playing in the background and I'm doing my thing on this video game or being entertaining on this podcast or blah, 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 blah. Of course, that would be another podcast other than this one featuring somebody entertaining. That's what happens on Twitch, which, again, violates the letter of the law, but does it really violate the spirit, at least as I have outlined it, as I see it, of copyright law? I don't think so. And similarly, you have a right as a game designer, as a game developer, to tell a story, and you own the engine and the images and all that. Well, people aren't going to my videos to play your game. In fact, they can't. But similarly, they're not going necessarily to my videos to play the game. They're not going to my videos to experience the game. In fact, their experience of watching my videos of me playing the game is I could argue entirely different from if they would play the game themselves as you intended it. My intent in uploading videos is not to provide another way for people to experience this game without having to buy it. It's so that people can be entertained, and this copyrighted work is simply a vehicle to do so. I'm not providing another way. I am not cutting into the profits necessarily of a game developer. You still have to go. You can't watch my videos and not buy the game. If you want to play the game, there's no way you can glean it from watching my videos. And again, while uploading wholesale video game content may be a violation of the letter of copyright law, I don't see it as violating the spirit, or at least as I understand it, the idea of protecting somebody's right to profit from their work. It's Now, video games, it gets a little, what is the experience? Is it the input of the game, or is it just the narrative of the game? Is the narrative of, say, The Last of Us the real drive to the game, or is it the input itself, or is it the input plus narrative equals on-screen action? Is that the drive of the game? And you can debate that all you want. But I think that the protection of copyright, specifically with the DMCA as it applies to online content, is there are a lot of people that technically violate the DMCA every day, but they're not intending to surreptitiously or unscrupulously grab profits from the proper right holders. The guy playing Pandora or Last.fm or whatever the other stuff is, the guy playing that in the background of his Diablo 3 stream isn't playing it so people can go, oh, man, yay, I've listened to this stream, and I heard this new song from this new album. I don't have to buy the album now. Yay! That's not what happens. It's there as ambiance. It's there as the background. Now, again, is it fair use? Is it I don't know. I don't think you can make a case for fair use or derivative work or anything like that, because you're not fundamentally changing the Eminem song in the background. It's just there. It's not the drive. And I have a hard time giving the keys to right holders when it comes to, in any reproduction of your work, in any context. When you strip context from use of copyrighted material, it's very easy. But there isn't a contextualless existence or reproduction of copyrighted work. There's always context. There's the context of, I'm putting it online so people can download it without paying you, which is very clearly a violation of the letter and spirit of copyright protection. And then there's, I'm playing it in the background of my live stream to provide ambiance, but people aren't coming here to listen to the specifically for the music, and I am not providing them a way to have to generate a copy or reproduce your music, your copyrighted work, without paying you. I'm not doing any of those things. So, and yes, when that context is stripped away, yes, I'm reproducing your work without licensing fees or permission. Yeah, I violated your copyright. But you gotta, at some point, don't you have to look at context? And through context, replicating or reproducing copyrighted works in their entirety doesn't necessarily violate copyright law, at least the spirit. And the DMCA, I think, needs to be updated to reflect that, at least, or perhaps the entire idea of copyright protection and intellectual property protection completely revamped to reflect that. But suffice it to say, circling back around as we close out this topic, we're going to do some news in a bit. Twitch isn't doing this because they don't like you. Twitch isn't doing this because they want to be YouTube or they want to hurt you. Twitch is doing this because they want to sell, and they want to make a lot of money from their very good idea executed pretty much flawlessly. Twitch is, as I understand it, has gone a long time without serious fuck-ups. And they want to profit from that. And in this practical world, they've let it slide for a long time. They've let it slide completely, and they haven't said a word to anybody. But when you try to sell your company for a lot of money to investors or a group of investors or a larger corporation, well, specifically you try to sell your platform and all the hardware and all the VODs and all that stuff, all the branding. We live in a practical world, and yeah, as nice as it was for Twitch to just kind of be hands-off, laissez-faire with respect to copyright stuff. Yeah, stream games all the time. Don't care, no matter. Play music, we don't care. Fuck it, go do it. I mean, yeah, technically violates terms of service, but we're not going to break your balls over it. Well, now they're trying to make their money, and they've had a great idea. They've executed it as close to flawlessly as I've seen in a long time, and they want to make money from it. And in the practical world, in the pragmatic world, you can't have DMCA liabilities like that. There's a lot of streamers streaming hours and hours and hours of copyrighted music. And I'm sure Twitch would gladly sell their company without doing this. But again, we live in a practical world as for much of the time. And they probably got to do this to make themselves more attractive to people to buy, or to make themselves buyable at all. Because I don't think there would be anybody who would be silly enough to spend hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion, on a company with DMCA liabilities out to wazoo. I just don't. All right, let's do some news. We got some news to talk about today. We're going to try to get to some of these things before the show closes out. CDC issues highest level alert for Ebola. A bus firm owner charged with harassing customers in Central Illinois. U.S. college sports set for pivotal NCAA reform vote. An L.A. County deputy was texting before fatally hitting ex-Napster exec on bike. Hey, that's the newest form of getting people via DMCA. Christian leaders are saying ISIS are beheading children in Iraq, and Edward Snowden receives 3-year Russian residence permit. It's the news at Lefty. Let's talk about all the news. We talked about sports earlier in the show, and I thought this was fitting. This is from Reuters. Student athletes in the United States may move a step closer to receiving financial compensation when a group of university leaders on Thursday are expected to allow the wealthiest collegiate sports programs to leave behind decades-old restrictions and chart a self-governing course. The embattled National Collegiate Athletic Association's Division I Board of Directors is scheduled to vote in Indianapolis as it faces legal and public pressure to share its billions in revenue with athletes. The vast majority of student athletes never go on to play professionally, and critics say the NCAA's current scholarship policy shortchanges athletes who risk injury and devote many hours to practice, travel, and competition. For the new structure to pass, it must get a majority of yes votes from the NCAA's 18 directors, which comprise collegiate presidents and chancellors. That would give the top 5 athletic conferences autonomy to shape their own rules and possibly ease regulations on agents, recruiting, and pay. The NCAA, which does not allow students to earn money for their athletic performance, has been sued by former and current athletes in U.S. court demanding a share of profits that includes tens of billions in guaranteed television money. This year, it settled cases along with video game maker Electronic Arts for using the likenesses of current and former football and men's basketball players in video games. The NCAA also faces a unionization push by scholarship football players at Northwestern University who want the right to have a say in benefits and compensation. Now, this has been a hot-button topic for a while in the sports world. Should college athletes, big-time college athletes, basketball, football, in some areas, baseball, I think maybe lacrosse sometimes. But the question has been, there are lots of these collegiate players, quote, amateurs, forced amateurs by the NCAA. When they sign up to play college in a Division I sports program, they have to sign with the NCAA as well. Or at least the NCAA's bylaws are grandfathered into their agreements to play for any given university or conference. And the NCAA has said, you're not compensated. Your scholarship, quote, scholarship is your compensation. Now you get a scholarship and, dorm room and board. Now you're an 18-year-old almost or pseudo-professional athlete, And the board for room and board is the same caloric intake that we give to an engineering major or 95-pound art major or art history major. And, well, yeah, you're going to go hungry because you need a lot more calories to perform at the athletic level that you do. And we're also going to expect of you to be able to perform at your athletic level that you're going to have to sacrifice your studies. You're going to have to go into... The large majority of you are going to have to sacrifice your studies and spend a lot more time in the film room, in the weight room, in the gym, as opposed to the library. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and maybe you'll get your degree. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll go to class and take the exams and write the papers. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Hell, maybe you took your SATs, or maybe somebody else did. We don't know. We don't care. But the quote scholarship, which we're not really giving you money, it's just we're not charging you as much, or we're not charging you at all, that should be enough for you. And, what were we doing? Oh, yes, that's right. We were just signing a $10.1 billion CBS television deal to broadcast the March Madness tournament for the next decade. That's $10.1 billion. Oh, your conference was just signing a billion-dollar contract with Fox Sports or something, to bring online their own television network and take subscriptions or sell themselves to cable providers or satellite TV providers. Yeah, but no, you don't get any of that. You don't get any of that. And it's been a hot button issue, but I don't know why. Because it should be, at least in my mind, it should be painfully clear what the correct course of action is. These kids are working themselves to the bone to create a product for you, right? Yeah. And you're generating hundreds of millions of dollars in ticket sales and concession sales and video games and merchandise and then billions more in television deals. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And they're not allowed to get any of that? No, because they're amateurs and And so they're doing work for you, and you're making a lot of money, but you're not compensating them at all. Whoa, that's not true. We're compensating them with a scholarship. So their compensation is something that you give them that has no outside value, that they can't trade in for anything except at your university. You're giving them, quote, a voucher in exchange for, quote, credit hours at your university. Is that right? Yeah, and that should be good enough because student-athletes, amateurism, bullshit, while we make billions. Does that sound like a company store to anybody else? There was a time in America, and I don't think it happens anymore. I think that's been outlawed. But there was a time where you would work in an isolated area. You would be in the coal mines of West Virginia, and you would be nowhere. There's entire towns built just for the coal mine, and you couldn't go anywhere. You could, but the coal company, the mining company, decided, well, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to pay you in money necessarily. We're going to pay you in vouchers. And these vouchers, they work just like money, but they only work at a few select stores. And more to the point, they only work at our stores. They only work at the stores that we build and set up and create. And we're also going to have you pay. There will be a house built for you, and you'll have to pay rent on that house, and that will be part of your compensation as well. So you'll get paid, but you'll only get paid. Your payment will be the ability to get things from us and only from us. You can't go out and buy a car. You can't go out. You need new clothes. You go to the company store. You're not going down the street to Kohl's or to Target or anything like that. You only work within our system. You only exist. Your compensation only exists and is only valuable within our system, within the confines of our little company here. Does that sound like a forced amateurism scholarship set up to anybody else? Yeah, we're making billions off of you. I mean, we're selling the coal for real money. Don't get it twisted, baby. We're selling the coal for lots of money. Lots of people need coal. Industrial revolution. rocking and rolling. We're getting dollar bills. You're getting company store vouchers. The NCAA is selling the product created by amateur athletes for real dollars, for billions of dollars. But the amateur athletes only get compensated with university vouchers. I mean, they get the swag, they get the shoes, the pants, the athletic stuff, they get clothes from it. You know, they got, probably closets full of university branded merchandise, and they get a voucher to go to school, and they get a voucher to eat. They can't go to Kohl's or to Target or to buy a car if they need one or live in an apartment if they want one. They don't get any of that. And it's forced upon them. If you want to do this, you have to work in our company store, or you have to work for our company, shop at our company store, and we're going to make billions off of the product you create. And it's just people honestly, I'm hard pressed to think of how anybody could say, well, yeah, that works. That's good enough. Hold on a second. Johnny Manziel, one of the number one selling in the NCAA store, one of the top selling jerseys was a Johnny Manziel jersey. Texas Tech, or no, it was Texas Tech. Or no, Texas A&M, excuse me, Texas Tech was different. Texas A&M, number 5 jersey. I believe it even had Manziel on the back. The NCAA used his name. They were directly profiting from his name. He didn't get a cut of anything. Now, when you do work with somebody, when you do business with anybody, they provide you a product or service that you sell to other people. Let's say they would be employees in this sense. They provide you a product or service that you sell to other people. You better give them compensation back. I mean, the reason we have money is because a strict barter system, we evolved past it because Johnny Manziel's work cannot reliably be expressed in chickens. Johnny Manziel may have no use for chickens or cows or mules or sacks of grain and rice. He doesn't have need for those. So I give you money in exchange for that. Instead of giving you concrete value, I give you a theoretical expression of value, which is money. That's why we evolve. That's why we're not on a barter system anymore. I mean, you can go and barter, but you pay money. You can go to Istanbul. What was Istanbul? You go to the bazaar, they take money. You don't show up there with chickens. You don't go there with a pickup truck full of chickens and go, hey, big strokers, let's do some business. Give me some carpets and da-da-da-da-da, knock off Rolexes. Yeah. You don't do that. You come there with cash and you negotiate. And to say, well, yeah, we have that, but this college system, it works, and you shouldn't be paying these kids. And look, when somebody does work for you, you better pay them, or you better compensate them, and that compensation shouldn't be something that is only redeemable at your store. Imagine this. I'll just imagine it like this. Imagine Target. Okay, tomorrow, Target comes out and says, we love our employees, and we thank every single worker in the Target team. Everybody's been great. We've created a great product, and we are so enamored with our products and service provided by our team that we want to make sure that Target employees can get the same level of care and service that Target customers get. So, starting tomorrow, we are announcing a program in which Target team members will be paid in Target gift cards. This way, we can ensure that Target employees remain happy and safe and satisfied with the products that we all love, that all Target customers have come to know and love. If that was announced tomorrow, you go, bullshit. You pay these people money. You pay them real money, man. You don't go around and just like, oh, here's a Target gift card. Thank you for your time. No, you pay me money, motherfucker. So college athletes, if they're helping generate millions, perhaps billions collectively in revenue, pay them real money. Stop acting. And also, finally, please, can we stop acting like these kids are going to class? I mean the large majority of them. Can we stop pretending that they're going to class? or that they're actually learning anything, or their degrees actually mean anything. A kinesiology degree, criminal justice, or parks and recreation, or recreation management. Can we stop pretending? When I was in college, D. Brown graduated early. He was a part of an NCAA commercial. He had a 3.03 GPA, and they were like, "Oh, it's a 3.03 GPA." I'm like, "That's a B plus, motherfucker. That's what I got." He had a 3.03 GPA. It was part of an NCAA commercial in like parks management, or it's parks and recreation management or something like that. And he graduated, got a degree. D. Brown got a degree, and I met D. Brown. Yeah, D. Brown is a tremendous basketball player. I think he did well in Italy. Didn't go to class. I was in a class with Isaiah Juice Williams. Well, to say I was in a class was to say I saw him twice, midterm and final. That's it. Never saw him in lecture, ever. Isaiah Juice Williams. Can we drop the facade that, of course, yes, I know there's backup linemen and punters that have, molecular biology degrees, and they're actually studying computer science, and they're working really, 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 really hard. Yes, I know. I know there's that one Florida State safety who worked really hard and was a Rhodes Scholar, went to Oxford University, and skipped out on the NFL draft. I think he's back now. I know and those people exist, yes. But on Saturdays, the kids you see on the field, the starters, they're not going to class. They're not taking, quote, real classes. They're not learning anything. I mean, shit, Derrick Rose went to Memphis for a year. Derrick Rose went to college. Derrick Rose took the SATs, or Derrick Rose supposedly took the SATs and got into Memphis. You know who took Derrick Rose's SATs? It wasn't Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose did not take his own SATs. But he still somehow... an SAT score got ascribed to Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose went to Memphis for a year. And then he's like, all right, fine, I'm going to be the number one pick in the NBA draft. Yay, millionaire now. Let's stop pretending that any of this means anything. Let's stop pretending that these kids are actually students or working hard or trying to actually better themselves via education. They're trying to better themselves via the sport they play and work very hard at. In other news, Deputy was, we talked about the DMCA. Now, the DMCA came a calling for this ex-Napster exec on a bike. Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy who struck and killed a former Napster executive as he was riding his bike on Calabasas last year sent 6 text messages in the moments leading up to the collision, court records show. It's almost been 8 months since former Napster executive Milton Olin Jr. was killed as he rode his Cervelo R3 mountain bike. Oh, Cervelo R3? I know it well. It's a very good bike. Along a winding stretch of Mulholland Drive, hit from behind by the patrol car. The deputy has since returned to active duty, though he is no longer doing patrol work. The sheriff's investigation in the December 8th accident has been forwarded to the district attorney for review. The text messages were discovered after a sheriff's detective, unconvinced of a previous finding that cell phone use had not been a factor, requested a search warrant for Deputy Andrew Francis Wood's phone records. The accident, he wrote in his request, had the telltale signs of distracted driving. It appears that Deputy Wood may have been distracted by using his cellular telephone or viewing and or using the mobile digital computer in his radio car at the time of the collision, Sheriff's Detective Russell A. Townsley wrote. But for the family, the 65-year-old entertainment attorney executive answers remain elusive. So here's this guy riding his bike along a street. A sheriff's deputy was texting, and he missed, didn't see him, drove right through him. Now, apparently... further down in the article, it says that the 65-year-old executive's body was thrown up in the air and landed behind the patrol car. So we're talking about a cartoonish impact where the guy was hit and tossed into the air. The patrol car was going so fast it could hit the guy on the bike, toss him in the air, pass under him, and before the guy landed on the ground, the patrol car was down the road. Now... I have a show, it's in early production, called Imagine Somebody Else Said It. Instead, let's imagine somebody else did it. Let's imagine it was just a soccer mom who did it, killed this guy. Would she be back at work, or you think she'd be in prison? And by the way, it was found that she sent 6 text messages leading up to the collision. Would she be in prison, you think? Huh? Would she maybe reckless, manslaughter, anything at all? Guy died of blunt force trauma. Comic collision, hit, tossed up into the air, and the car passed under him. It was going so fast. If somebody else did it, you think it might be but a police officer does it, and he's got to be back on duty. We got to get this hero back to the streets. And finally, or two more things before we wrap up the show. Instead of imagine somebody else did it, imagine there was another cause. Okay? Now, it's safe to assume that this officer's texting almost directly caused this accident. The guy was going fast on Mulholland Drive, didn't see this guy on his bike because he was texting, and he just hit him. There were no evidence of hitting the brakes or anything like that. And also, the sheriff's department denied the family any of the reports from the accident scene or calculations or anything like that. They denied it for the longest time. So, imagine, instead of texting, the guy was drunk. Imagine he had a .09 BAC instead of 6 text messages leading up to the accident. There would be outrage, wouldn't there? Oh, just another guy killed by drunk driving. Look at how awful. Put him in jail. Run him up on the string. Hang him from the yardarm. We got to, this is awful. Drugs or alcohol, drunk driving is a scourge on our society. That would be the response, right? But it's texting now. And this guy texting, this sheriff's deputy texting, allowed him to hit a guy so fast and so hard that the body was thrown up into the air and the patrol car passed under him before he came back down to the ground. Died on the road, blunt force trauma. Now it's texting. But, you don't text while driving. Look, here's all I want. I want people that text on the roads. I want to have the people that text on the roads to be faced with the exact same punishments as drunk drivers. You're found texting on the road, non-injurious texting or non-injurious DUI, you get the same exact thing. You hurt somebody because you were texting, just the same as you hurt somebody if you were DUI. I want that. I want the exact same punishments. Not because I believe they're the correct punishments. I just want the vast majority of society to realize, holy fucking shit, if I'm caught looking at my phone, even if I don't hurt anybody, I have to spend $5,000, even $10,000 to defend myself. And even then, I may still spend time in jail or have to get a hardship license. Even if I don't hurt anybody, kill anybody, or break anything. I want the same. Just because I want assholes on their phones, the same liberal assholes who say, look at the evil drunks driving down the road, and we got to put them in jail to stop this because they may hurt somebody. Okay. All right. Okay. Now when you look at your phone, I want to put you in jail and charge you tens of thousands of dollars to defend yourself because you may have hurt somebody. And let's see how long that lasts. Let's see how long before people say, these punishments are bullshit, man. For just looking at my fucking phone, I'd go to fucking jail? Are you serious? And if I refuse to show the officer my text logs, my license is immediately suspended for 6 months? And I'm arrested? Are you fucking kidding me? This is what we do to people? That's all. I just want that. And then I'll be satisfied. If not vindicated, then at least satisfied. All right, let's bring it home. Another great episode of The Lefty Show. I thank you all for joining me. I had a great time putting on the show. I hope you had a great time listening. Thank you, everybody, for watching, liking, and favoriting. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can find the show in its YouTube formation, as well as gaming content, vlogs, all those kinds of things. YouTube.com/LeftyOX. Thank you to everybody for following me on Twitter, @Lefty643. Stay up to date on all my musings and in-between shows, what I'm thinking about. Twitter.com/Lefty643. Thank you to everybody for helping the show grow. We stay alive by sharing the show. Friends, family, and co-workers are where it's at. Head on over to leftyshow.podbean.com podbean.com for the RSS feed, or go to your favorite Android podcasting app of choice, search The Lefty Show. If you really want to help out, download the iTunes client, go to the iTunes store, search The Lefty Show, find us, subscribe there, and be sure to leave a rating if you please. Thank you to everybody for donating. I'm raising.com/643 Productions. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye.